worshippers of God, the Holy Trinity. Church buildings are the most obvious sign of our Christian presence. No one is very far away from one. In some lands, church buildings are not allowed, or have to keep well out of the public eye. I love visiting Berea in northern Greece. Paul went there after Thessalonica. In the 1960s, it was hard to find a church there. Under many centuries of Muslim rule, they were only permitted to build a church if it was hidden behind high walls. Over the last 50 years, I've noticed many of these walls removed, revealing dozens of tiny churches decorated in the Orthodox style. In other lands like Saudi Arabia or North Korea, church buildings are not allowed, and Christians meet in secret in their homes or other locations like the forest. In this country, we can rejoice in the liberty to have a building for worship, although in some places they're not that suitable. In my native Suffolk, the riches and population of the medieval wool trade led to many fine buildings. Some are larger than a cathedral. Some today can hold far more worshippers than there are villagers. As Christians, we long to worship God, who called us out of darkness into his wonderful light. Peter begins that sentence in 1 Peter 2 with, "You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession." He is building on the teaching of the Old Testament. God had said of the Israelites in Exodus 19, "You will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." Every Christian is able to come directly to God in worship. We can fall into a trap of thinking of our vicar as the priest able to offer to God special worship on our behalf. Our prayer book does not teach this Catholic idea and carefully calls the leader at Holy Communion a president. The New Testament never calls an individual Christian a priest. What it does do is follow the biblical principle of the priesthood of all believers. As we gather to worship, we as the Christian family of God can, as our modern prayer book puts it, we can all offer our praise and thanksgiving, hear and receive God's holy word, pray for the needs of the world, seek the forgiveness of sins, that by the power of the Holy Spirit we may give ourselves to the service of God. Each one of these aspects of worship is an important role of our priesthood. For most Christians throughout the world, praise very much involves singing. That really does bring us closer to the picture we are given in Revelation of heaven, where they sing many songs. One day, we too will do this visibly in the presence of God. In the meantime, we rejoice that the dividing curtain in the Old Testament temple is torn open. We can all come directly to God in worship and prayer. While here on earth, we have this great privilege. Church buildings are a sign that we as Christians are committed to worship God. They are there so we can enjoy the great privilege as the priesthood of all believers.